Evening, folks. Hope everyone is well. Oh, let's just adjust that. It's Friday night. I'm tired. Let's get this over with. I want to do another experiment recording to tape, similar to my last video. In this one, I've fired up the Behringer Pro1 and the Volca Modular, but I'm actually doing something I've been sort of meaning to do for ages, and that's control the Volca Modular with control voltage. There's no MIDI cable, there's no MIDI DIN switch in the Volca Modular, so it does make it a bit of a beast to control, but you can sort of control it over CV, and I'll go into that in this video. So it's, I mean, it's I've got it in my hand because I'm just sort of like tidying it away. It's a little bit complicated, and you need sort of not special cables, but you need a particular cable. I'll go into all of that in this video, set up the drone, do the recording, and that'll be ready to then into part two. We'll burn that onto tape. Do people say that, burn onto tape? Is that an expression? That's what we're doing in this video. Let's go. Okay, folks, more drones, more cassette recording. However, I feel like the setup here almost requires its own video. So what I'm doing is I'm controlling the Volca Modular with control voltage from the Behringer Pro1. Sort of. Bear with. So, for example, we can hear oscillator 1 of the Pro1. Lovely stuff. And we can hear oscillator B of the Pro1. And we can hear the Volca Modular. Which is very hot. Sorry, I do like the Volca Modular because nothing quite sounds like it. So, and everything is going back into the Pro1. Well, I say everything, the Volca Modular is going back into the Pro1, and I've got a reverb set up for the Pro1. So we can have also the reverb on the Volca as well, and it should mean as well we can control the Volca Modular with the filter from the Pro1. Sorry, watch your ears. But as you know, to prove the point that works. The setup of this is not trivial, and I didn't really know what I was doing, so it was very much trial and error. So let's break down this patch. Now, I said sort of, because yes, and oh yeah, and so so obviously we can get, you know, a glorious 3-voice synthesizer from this setup, which is very hot. So we can get a 3-voice fat sound from this 3-voice setup. But it's sort of so complicated that I basically arrived at this through trial and error, because we've got patching between the instruments and patching within certainly the Volca Modular. So let's break down the patch. The first thing to say is you'll need a very particular cable to achieve this. So at the one end, it's like a headphone jack, like a 3.5mm, but at the other end, it's two 3.5mm jacks, but they're split out into mono left and right. And you know, pick these up at an audio store or eBay or whatever. And so the CV in, the 3.5mm connector on the Volca, actually will you know, it basically splits the incoming signal into gate and CV. But the volts per octave of the Volca Modular isn't the volts per octave of the Pro1. It's like, I don't know what's going on with the Volca Modular. It's got its own implementation of volts per octave that is kind of crazy off the Pro1. So that's the but. Now, I may be doing something wrong. Some kind of pitch quantizer possibly is the way forward if you've got a modular system. I don't have a pitch quantizer, so that's, somebody with more knowledge than me might be able to answer that. Now, it's a bit of trial and error, but obviously the stereo end goes into CV in on the Volca Modular, and I think it's white is keyboard control voltage, so that's basically pitch information, and the red one is gate, so it basically says open and close the envelope. Right, so that works, and you'll know if it doesn't work, because if it's wrong, you don't get the pitch information, you just get the gate information. Although it also matters how you set up the Volca Modular. So let's have a look at that. So in the Volca Modular, the upper sort of connector of CV in, which is this purple socket, is going to this connector here. This red connector, have I got a biro to hand? Yeah. This red connector is going into this kind of splitter. And so one of the splits is going into the attack, and the other splitter is going into the release. And basically what I'm is like, that's opening the envelope, but that's basically overriding the release and keeping the envelope open. And then I'm going to set the Pro1 to drone mode. So we immediately hear that the Volca kicks into life as soon as I start the drone mode. And yeah, the repeat stroke normal can have an effect as well, but let's keep it in drone mode. And let's just, yeah, so if we turn it down, because obviously I'm sending the audio back to the Pro1. Yeah, this is complicated. And then we can mix in the Pro1. Now, I said that the volts per octave is all mixed up, so I've had to basically tune my two oscillators to, well, I'm essentially playing a D on my keyboard. And then basically tuning the oscillators to whatever the Volca Modular is receiving through the control voltage. But this will achieve a drone. So maybe I'll make a diagram of this and just flash that up on the screen. But yeah, this is something I've been like meaning to do for ages. to sort of get a bit more control over the Volca modular, because obviously it doesn't have a DIN cable. You can't necessarily control it over MIDI, but it will take control voltage, albeit in its own weird implementation of volts per octave, which will probably, you know, if I read the manual, it would tell me exactly what it was doing, and I could, I don't know. I don't know how I'd necessarily port one device for another device in terms of volts per octave, but there are probably modular stuffs out there that could achieve that. Or I could recalibrate the Volca modular. That might be a thing. I might be able to take it apart and twiddle some screws in the back. If folks know how I would do that, do let me know in the comments. So, part 2, we'll put this onto tape. And for this, I will use a different tape recorder. But that's for part 2.